So today I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Final Cut Pro user interface. This is a video for beginners on Final Cut Pro X version 10.3. So I'm going to begin by just opening up the Final Cut Pro user interface, and there's a few sample events and projects for you to view. So I'm going to begin by the very top here. So this isn't actually part of the Final Cut Pro interface, this is just the toolbar that you'll find on a Mac. Up here there's going to be a lot of functions that are available to you. So clicking on any one of these options is going to give you a large number of tools for you to access. Any of these symbols here on the right hand side are what's known as your keyboard shortcuts. So they refer to particular shortcuts in the keyboard that will let you access, for example, these ones here marked set range, the letter I, the letter O, the letter X. Those are letters referring to your keyboard. Things like your Command K show your keyword editor. So if you want to be able to access your keyboard shortcuts, there's a huge list of those available up here. Similarly, a lot of these are available on the interface themselves when you start getting into some of the tools. So here, very top of the screen, these are simple, again, Apple symbols that are on the majority of the apps. The X will close the program completely, which we don't want to do. Yellow will minimize the program, down to here, which you can then access again if need be. This green one here will maximize the screen. So if you maximize the screen here, that will go to full screen. And if you want to bring it back on, it's the escape key. So I'm going to actually keep mine in full screen because I think it's nice to view the entire thing. So from here then, I'm going to talk to you about a couple of different sections of the screen. So up here, we've got this top grey bar. The first option here is this downwards facing arrow. You can see here already, you've got the command keyboard shortcut here is Command I, and it's your media import window. So if you click on this option here, this is where you're going to access, where you're going to import your media. The next one along is the symbol of a key, and that is your keyword selection. This is all when we get into our media management. The third one along here are your background tasks. So any tasks that are kind of happening if you're generating a file, if you're importing media, if clips are rendering, any of these tasks are going to show up here as a toolbar which counts down. Right now there are no tasks being performed, which is why they're all currently idle. If you want to check how something is progressing, you're going to click on the toolbar here. And right now here it's got a tick and a circle, but that changes to sort of a purple clock that kind of counts down as a task is completing. The other side of the bar here, you have three symbols, and these ones here are going to show you how to access and close various parts of the screen. So the first one here refers to this portion of the screen. If I click this button here, that portion of the screen disappears. If I click it again, it becomes purple, which means it becomes active. This portion of the screen is where the majority of our files are stored. So let's just briefly talk about this portion here. So this symbol here is for our files, our libraries, events and projects. If I click that away, again, anything that kind of click it closes it, it's inactive and then it's active again. So this symbol here for 4 stars is your library. So that stores a number of different files, a number of different events, which are folders and your projects. And these are the single star is a single event. Within these symbols here with the chevrons, those are our projects. Each one of these refers to an assembly of clips that has been created on our timeline. The next option along, you get these 3 symbols here. Final Cut Pro seems to love to do things in 3s. The second symbol along is referring to, this is the iTunes symbol, the little circle with the music notes in it, and behind that is a camera. So this is accessing your iPhotos and your iMusic and a few other Apple programs into which you can draw from. So if this is your personal computer and you have all your photos stored in iPhotos and you're generating music on GarageBand, you can also, if you have things like Logic and other programs, they will appear in here as well. Your music library might appear in your iTunes. Apple likes to consolidate all of its projects in this way, so you can kind of access them. If you do use all those other programs, you have access to your files within those mediums. There's also this option here of sound effects. Clicking on sound effects. Down here is a drop down menu that appears. And there's a full menu of a variety of different types of sound effects that you can use and that you can play. They are quite fun to have play with. I'm not going to go into those just now, that'll be in a later video. The next one along, the T here, these are our titles and our generators. So our titles are our text and our generators are our backgrounds. These are things that you're going to drag and drop onto the timeline when you're ready to use them. So I'm just going to take this back here to our symbol here. So this is me bringing it back. Also, you can see as I hover over the edge of the line here, you can use this to sort of adjust how much of the screen these aspects occupy, depending on how important that information is, how much you want to see this screen here. So this here is all of our files, sound files, photos, titles and generators, and it can be accessed and closed using the symbol up here in the left hand corner, in the right hand corner. This portion here is our viewer, and our viewer is going to play for us anything that we have selected. So if I have any files up here and I give them a play with a space bar, that's going to play that in the viewer. Similarly, anything down here that has some cuts, might be a bit loud with the music. So it's also going to play anything on the timeline. So any of these items are going to be displayed in the viewer. Similarly, any text that you might have that you want to view, that was reskimmed or will be played, you can observe those in the viewer as well. So the viewer displays anything that you've selected. Also down here, if you have, this is another option we'll go into, any effects that you want to view or any transitions, these will also be viewed in our viewer. Within the viewer, you have a couple of different options here. So the top portion here, this little drop down menu, will let you show the size, so you can zoom in to really tiny sections. You can see this small direction here will let you focus in on particular parts of the screen, or go really tiny if you're working on things like crops, drawing the video out. Let's put it back to fit. So fit just fits the screen. So if I pull the size of this one, make it bigger or small, it's going to fit whatever size you've given it here. Next to that option here, view, there's a number of different options. I'm not going to go into all of these. There's a few different options here that you might want to observe. And we'll go into those into more detail later. Down here at the bottom of the viewer, this portion here will show you how much of that clip you're viewing. So this here, as I scan across, you can see that I'm 35 seconds, 33 seconds into the video. So it's displaying me the time code of the player. Up here, it's going to show you how long that's going to last. This one lasts 3.45 seconds and shows you how far into it you are. So that's observing that portion here. This play symbol will also play and pause your video in the same way that your spacebar will do on your keyboard. From here, you've also got, as you can see, the sine waves. If I play that again for a moment, you can see these sine waves start to play. So these sound waves here, you can also click on those. If I click on the sound waves, this will open up your sound bars to the side. So you can see we've got a left and a right here. This is just a simple stereo edit. If I press spacebar again, it's a way you can monitor your audio, and you can get rid of that again just by clicking the same symbol. Bottom of the screen here, 3 more symbols, each of which have a drop down menu. This first option here, this little drop down menu, takes you to transform, crop and distort. We will go into all of those in a separate video. The next one along are your color corrections. So again, if I select a clip, a few more options have become available. So you've got options of balance color, match color, show color board, and then a few audio adjustments as well. Here next to this, it looks like the speedometer of a car with another little drop down menu, and here you've got your retime editor. So for any clip that you have, if you want to change the speed, you want it to go into slow motion or fast, bring it back to normal, hold to free frame, reverse clip, all these ones. And again, lots of these ones that you have got keyboard shortcuts as well, so you can have a look at these and learn them. From here in the corner of the right hand side, the bottom corner, this will play in full screen. So if I click this, it's going to not only play the viewer, to fill the screen with the viewer, it will also press play on whatever you have selected. So if I do this, you'll observe. Spacebar will pause again, and you can either return to the screen hitting the escape key on the keyboard, or by clicking on this symbol here, exit full screen, takes you back to normal. Up, you can also kind of close, the viewer tends not to close actually too much. I'm looking at any of these. Viewers generally active in most of these symbols. So here then we've got our inspector. So this is it's both, it gives you information about, and then also gives you the ability to manipulate and make adjustments to, and control whatever you have selected. So if I've selected on the screen, for example, a piece of video, up here in my inspector it's going to give me different types of information. So the top part of the inspector here has 3 symbols. The first one is like 2 strips of film, the second one is a little speaker, the third one is an information. So the first one here, this symbol that's active, that's currently purple, is giving me information and the ability to control aspects of the video. The second one along with the speaker is our sound. So of this piece of clip that I have selected down here in the project, it's going to give me information about the audio and how to make various types of adjustments. So if I click this kind of thing, for example, it's going to give me access to certain equalizers, audio analysis, and any effects that I might have applied to the sound or to the visuals are going to appear up here. Similarly, this eye symbol at the corner here is going to give you information on things like your metadata. And down at the bottom, once this appears, you've got different options as how much you show. So this is going to give you more information. Extended is going to give you more information, again, to either read it or to make adjustments to it. Going back to basic for a moment. And up here in our 3 symbols, this third one along that looks like our adjusters, clicking this symbol here will both hide and open our inspector. So it can be useful sometimes if you're not using it, if you want to kind of view what's going on in a bit more detail, you can temporarily close it or open it as need be. Down here on the next toolbar down, so the next to these grey lines here, let's just start actually at the far right hand side. So this symbol here we opened up briefly before. Again, we've got our Shift Command 5, we'll do the same thing here. This is our transitions. So if you open up here, you've got your installed transitions. So all of these, if we hover our skimmer over, you'll see kind of how it transitions. It uses the image of trees and mountains, and it just shows you how it moves from one image to another image. This one's a cross dissolve, so it's just a gradual fade from one to the other. Some of them are a little bit more elaborate. You can kind of make your choice as to how these transitions will support your artistic vision. So there's lots and lots of these to choose from. Some of them are a bit wacky, some of them are good fun, some of them are nice and clean and crisp. Got these nice kind of fade directionals. Fade to colour, your classic out to black and back in again, earthquake. There's all these kind of ones, so just, yeah, have a play at those, choose those at your leisure. Here again, there's various sub-menus. If you know what type of transition you're looking for, blurs, dissolves, wipes, if you have a particular aesthetic in mind, you can observe those. The next symbol along here are our effects. So here is where you'd apply various types of visual and audio effects. I'm not going to go into all of these in this video, it's just an overview. So some of them are things like colour corrections, sort of colour styles, certain kind of blurs and bad TV, all these different kind of ones, camcorder effect. And you can see as I hover over the type of effects it generates. That's also where you find things like your keyers and your masks. So some of these do have some very, very practical functions, frames. There's also letterboxing, somewhere down here. If you want to give it particular letterboxes, your keyers is where you work with things like your keying the light or for working with green screen. This is one you can add your own effects. If you own it, you can add plugins to these types of things. Some of them are quite, again, creative and mad. Some of them are extremely useful and you can use them in a number of different ways. So there's loads and loads of these to choose from. Again, there's various sub-menus if you know what types of things you're looking to work with. This is also, and this is a very simple drag and drop on top of your clips. So these are also where your audio effects are. So there's a number of different types of audio. There's Final Cut Pro have their own audio effects, and then there's also some that they've taken from Logic, from a previous version, I believe. So there's lots, again, some that are very, very useful, things like your EQ and your levels and things. You know, you kind of want to have a play with these, and there's other that are more specialised, more creative, if you want to create interesting sound effects. And each one of these, if you drag it on, is going to give you a different soundboard to adjust your audio up in your inspector. So those are your effects. The next one along here just looks like 2 film strips. If you click on that, that's just going to display the clips in different ways. So it refers to this portion here, which is on our timeline here. So if I click on this, the first option of all of these symbols, so you can see now that my clips have changed. Now all it's doing is it's showing me the sound, purely the sound information on these clips. Now I've actually turned the volume down on these, which is why you're not seeing the sound. If they were all up, you would see that those are the sound waves. So it's not showing you any of the visual references to the clips that they refer to, but it can be quite good if you want to work in detail on particularly detailed sound adjustments. The next one along is still primarily sound, but gives you a slight video reference so you can kind of check which clip it is you're adjusting. Third one along is pretty much half and half. The next one along is giving you more video reference with only a tiny touch of sound. And then the fifth one along, similar to the sound, is pure visuals and no sound. The sound is still present, still playing, it's just that you can't see it being referred to in these clips. And then the sixth one along, which is one I don't use too often, but you might if you're using lots of layers or you're editing kind of feature length, those sorts of things, just gives you the clip names and nothing more. So I'm going to put that back to this one here. So from here then you've got another option just here. If I drag the adjuster, you can see, so this is just stretching the height of that. Might be quite useful again if you're wanting to do some really detailed sound adjustments and you need those massive sound waves to be very, very particular with. You could use that adjuster. If you're working with lots and lots of layers, for example, you've got lots of videos there on top of one another, you might want it a little bit narrower so you can kind of see them all work a bit more easily. This one here, the plus and the minus, is just to zoom in and to zoom out. So that's where you can make very small detailed adjustments on particular aspects of the clip, or you can drag it back out again to sort of see how much your video is occupying. Yeah, so for the moment that's kind of all the most important information that we have there. The clip angles and the clip rolls, we won't worry too much about these. You can kind of add that information in if you need to, but we're kind of going into more detail than we need, and we haven't made those types of adjustments. I'm not too worried about those for the moment. So I'm going to have mine, yeah, about midway, and I want to see pretty much half and half. A bit of a reference, so that's where I'm going to keep it for the moment. The next one along here that we've got, this is snapping. This is also, as you can see, the letter N next to it. It's adjusted with the keyboard section N. So what snapping does is it keeps the clips kind of firmly next to one another. So if I was to take a clip out here, for example, and align it, there's a yellow bar that appears whenever it's exactly in line with a clip, either at the front or at the back. So that's what snapping does. And it snaps it into place because it's sort of assuming that you want your clips to be aligned with other particular clips. If I deactivate snapping, so again, generally when it's purple it's active, when it's white it's not. Either with the keyboard or with the just by clicking the symbol. So it's deactive at the moment, so you can see that those yellow lines of reference no longer appear. And it might be useful, for example, for a very particular reason. You might want it to be just off center. And you don't necessarily want the snapping to be in place. Next symbol along here, this just it solos your audio in particular. So if there's a particular bit of audio you just want to hear and you don't want anything else to kind of interfere with that, everything else that's great, it means it's turned off the audio of those. Now for this particular one it doesn't matter too much because that's the only one I've got active anyway. But if I had all these bits of audio turned up and I turn the soloing off, you would hear some of the background noise underneath. When I just solo it, you wouldn't hear any of it anyway. It's difficult to kind of hear there, but that's the purpose of the solo function anyway. We're going to have a little look at the skimmer now, which are these two symbols here. So this one here is currently active. Turn on video and I'll do a skimming. That's the letter S on our keyboard, or this purple symbol here. So as you can see here, as I'm skimming across the screen, similarly if I was skimming across any of our effects or any of our transitions, the skimmer just automatically plays whatever you happen to drag your mouse across. However, you can deactivate this just by clicking on the symbol, and then this doesn't work anymore, in which case you have to actually select what it is that you want to play. Same here with the effect, you have to select it. It's not even playing it there. Oh yeah, there we go. The skimmer automatically plays on this, very good. So you might want the skimmer active or you might not. Most of the time it's fine, but if your computer's going to be a bit slow sometimes, I find it can be good to turn it off every once in a while. So I'm putting my skimmer on here. The one next to this here, that's the sound waves with the line through it, that is your skimming your audio. Now I tend to have this off most of the time because I generally don't want to always be hearing fast forwarded the noise as I'm zooming my mouse across the screen. If I turn it on, you can see what it does. So there might be a need for it if you want to find maybe particular moments that you're trying to really get a clip to happen on a certain beat, something like that. The audio skimming might be useful to you, but generally I keep it off most of the time, just otherwise you get a lot of noise. Moving further across the screen here. So this one here is the name of our project, and also the duration of it. So it's 1 minute 52, which is pretty much there. And then there's 2 little arrows here that kind of show. Now these arrows would take you to and from various things, such as if you had been working, let's go back up here to my clips, let's go into a different event. So if I then went to another event, I can use this backspace arrow to take me back to the one I was previously in. So it can take you back and forth. It can also take you inside what are multicam clips and also compound clips as well. Over here on the screen, you've got a few selection options. So these are also, again, learn the keyboard shortcuts for these because they're pretty handy. So it just gives the mouse tool a few different types of effects. We'll go into these in a separate video just to show you where to access them. All these ones here just show you how different clips function. So if I select this clip here, and I take this one, I'm going to use my snapper actually, make sure I get an exact point here. So this first one here, if I click on this, I've selected a clip up here, and if I click on this one, it's going to pop a clip on the next line up, so it's like creating a cutaway. The next option down for the same clip is going to slot it exactly where the playhead is. So even if this is, I think, in the middle of a clip, yeah, it's going to cut that clip in half and insert that clip into it. The third one along, select this one again, inserts it at the end of your video. So if you're working your way along and you're adding clips one by one, that'd be a quick way of doing it. And then similarly, this one here, again, sort of overwrites it. The next option along is the index. It's just giving you, again, information about all the clips that are present. So if you use things like your tags and your roles and your metadata, you can work with that. Don't worry too much about that at the moment. We're getting into more advanced things. These ones here, it's just going to just gives you information about each one of the clips. So starting from the beginning of the timeline, what videos are active, what clips are active. So this is showing me my audio. It's got an extra storyline. It's telling me about the video. It's telling me about transitions I've applied. It's telling you where in the time code these things have been applied, and you can be very particular about looking at your video aspects, your audio aspects, or any typos that you've added. And again, this can be opened or closed just by clicking. You see it's active and it's purple. That's why when it's inactive. So that's a general overview of the Final Cut Pro interface. There's a lot more features, obviously, and each one of those I need to kind of go into detail in, which I will do in later videos. But that's just kind of an overview to kind of get you going and just to sort of so you understand where most aspects are on the screen. Thank you very much.